purpose and undermines the efficacy of a mass transit system to adopt a commercial aviation standard. In short, people are not going to want to take a train or bus if they have to go through a TSA-like security every single time. So securing our transportation systems, both air and surface, have been and continue to be challenged. On August 27th of 2009, maybe you didn't hear much about this, but it was 4 months prior to the Abu Talib Christmas Day attempted attack. A man named Abdullah Hassan Azari concealed an explosive in his rectum and detonated it, attempting to kill the Saudi Deputy Interior Minister for Counterterrorism. Fortunately, that plot failed. Nevertheless, my point is that as we adapt our capabilities, terrorists are adapting their own techniques to circumvent our efforts. And we would be remiss, however, if all we do is invest in hardening our airports, metro stations, and bus lines. Protecting individual assets is the last line of defense, not the first. Without a robust and capable intelligence community led by a strong director of national intelligence, we will always find ourselves investigating past attacks instead of preventing future attacks. And as a member of the Homeland Security Committee Subcommittee on Intelligence Oversight, I frequently get briefed on new and emerging threats to our homeland. Terrorists are as creative as they are evil, and that makes all of our jobs only that much more challenging. And the federal government has a daunting task before it, but with limited resources. We want to make some hard choices across the federal government, and we expect that Homeland Security will not be immune. We all certainly support that risk-based approach to securing this country. Threat, vulnerability, consequence, in fact, should dictate how we allocate our very limited resources. And so we will be ever mindful of that. And finally, about our good friend, Governor Ridge, again, Congressman, that's a place that no one ever been to, and no one ever heard of. That was his big line during the gubernatorial campaign in 1994. And so I like to remind him of that as often as I can. But I remember just before 9/11, or excuse me, just after 9/11, after President Bush had summoned him to take the Homeland Security position here in Washington, and one of my most cherished memories of the governor was 2 days before, I think he actually resigned. I think it was October the 5th of 2001, he resigned, and we had the honor and privilege to have him in the city of Allentown, my hometown, for a very special event on October the 3rd, just after the 9/11 attacks. We were all still reeling. We had a very wonderful event dealing with the arts community. It felt like it was a very nice farewell for Tom. We're so sorry to lose him as governor, but the nation picked him up as the Homeland Security, as the great leader of Homeland Security. So it was a real thrill for us. So with that, thank you for allowing me to join you, and I will turn the program back over, I guess, now. That's okay. Do I take questions at the end of the meeting?
If you feel,
Well, I can do it right now. I can do it after the governor or after everyone does. Okay. Questions? Any questions?
Chris Strum with Congress Daily. I'm wondering if, given the budget constraints that, that the government is facing, do you see any areas that you would look to curtail in Homeland Security intelligence spending?
Where we can curtail intelligence spending?
Or Homeland Security intelligence spending?
Oh, well, we have our own Office of Analysis, Intelligence Analysis. And, in terms of overall intelligence funding, I would tell you that probably Homeland Security is probably not where the bulk of intelligence funding is going within the whole federal apparatus. But no, we expect that we are going to be held to account like everybody else, and that I suspect the department is going to be on the, at some point, the receiving end of some types of reductions. And they could go in any number of areas. But clearly, we understand that Homeland Security and national security are priorities, and the American people expect us to fund those as best we can to keep this country safe. But we may be subject to some budget cuts, to be certain.
Ralph Margetta, CQ. One Homeland Security issue that doesn't seem to move forward is the congressional jurisdiction issue over the department itself. And that's something Governor Ridge is going to want to say about it. And I'm wondering, if we have a new Congress coming in, and whichever party is controlling, is there an obligation from the from the outset to actually have leadership look at that issue and take some action.
Yeah, I believe the committee, this session of Congress has not been as aggressive in asserting its jurisdiction as it should be. Absolutely, I agree with that. And one of the big issues that we have faced and continue to face is that the Homeland Security Department is summoned to the Hill to present before many different committees and subcommittees. And Tom Rich can tell you a lot more about that than I can. I mean, he used to give me the list of the number of appearances his committee, that his staff had to make before Congress. I mean, it was inordinate, it was excessive, and I think that has been a failing, that we have not been able to assert jurisdiction in this Congress to the extent that we should. It's an ongoing problem, and I hope that the next Congress that we are going to rectify it.
How much of the hardware, software that's being used is constantly, it's part of the tech world, it constantly changes, and there are many new companies that are coming up with new security apparatus in the tech world. Is there a mechanism where the members of the committee are actually being able to see any of these new advances for the machines and the hardware and the software for this? Or is it totally relying on the agency to bring Congress's attention to many of these new advances?
Well, I think the answer is that this information flow goes both ways. The administration shares with us many of the technologies they see. They have a science and technology director with whom we work very closely. I know Jay Cohen, Admiral Cohen, who's over there at the Homeland, did a terrific job. And also, I often get quite a bit of inquiry from people back home, who have ideas, and they're just trying to find ways to present it to the Homeland Department, Homeland Security Department. And so we continue to send people over to the S&T folks in particular and see what technology they think are viable that might be efficacious. So there's a two-way flow of information with respect to these latest technologies. And so I've seen many demonstrations. Some of it is initiated by the administration. Some of it is administrated. Some of this is influenced by committee activity. So both ways.
Not a reporter, but I used to be one, but I'm now a traveler. I take the train because I hate the airports. Do you foresee that everybody agrees?
Why are you looking at me?
But do you foresee that us having to do the same thing with our luggage and going through security clearances on Anthrax?
My short answer would be no. Clearly, I think I maybe referenced that a little bit in the remarks, but the mass transit trains they're an open system, multiple points of access, and clearly, if we're going to set up a commercial aviation type security system for mass transit, I suspect that would defeat the purpose of mass transit. I mean, you go on a train because you want to go somewhere quickly, and if we slow that down, I mean, what's the point of getting on the train? I mean, after this meeting today, I'm going to hop on the Anthrax and head back home. For me, if I had to wait, like I just was, if I was flying on a commercial aircraft, I just hop in the car. It would just save me time. I will have more congestion. So that's an issue, though. And even with buses too, you have multiple points of access. I mean, I talked to the Israelis about that. Even you can train your bus drivers to watch for behaviors and passengers before you pick them up. But the truth is, on a bus, you don't have to get on the bus to blow it up. You can stand in line and blow it up. It'll kill more people if you're in the bus than if you're outside the bus. But, I mean, the point is, there's a difference between the aviation sector, which is a closed system, and mass transit. So I don't think you're likely to see TSA-style security at an airport at your local Anthrax station or your metro station. I don't think that's likely to happen.
What's your assessment currently about the interconnection of the intelligence community and the areas of efforts within Homeland Security from flow of information and ability to act on it? Where do you see it needs to go?
Well, that's a continuing struggle. This whole notion of information sharing, both vertical and horizontal. I constantly hear from folks again back home. Sometimes this information they're getting is it useful to the cop on the street? We're not where we need to be in terms of information sharing and information flow. Obviously, it's a constant challenge, and that's why we have a director of national intelligence trying to help us coordinate that and collaborate much better. It's an ongoing struggle. And it's hard work. It's really hard work. It's easy to say it, share information, share intelligence, but it's a battle that we fight every day. And largely that fight's being driven out of the DNI's office. Can I turn it over? Thank you.